Space program after 27 years as a rocket scientist to pursue full-time ministry. Some folks found it peculiar that a man could be both a rocket scientist and a Christian. They were of the opinion that science is over here and faith is over here, and science needs to stay over here and faith needs to stay over here. And any sentence that used both the words science and faith in the same sentence surely must be some kind of theocratic spin job aimed at forcing religion upon everybody. Now, as a scientist, objective analysis of data, evidence, facts, and figures was my lifeblood. More accurately, the astronauts' life's blood. When the astronauts were out there, they depended upon us to deal objectively with data, evidence, facts, and figures to get them back safely. If as rocket scientists we didn't deal objectively with data, evidence, facts, and figures, astronauts died. So you can see that this fundamental principle of objectivity in dealing with data is of primary importance to me, both as a rocket scientist and as a Christian. We're going to spend about the next 5 minutes doing an experiment, and it's my hope that if we deal objectively with the data produced by the experiment, any evidence that we get from the experiment, that it will address this question of whether there's any legitimate, unforced, inherent dialogue between faith and science or not. I hold in my hand an unknown sample of some sort. Yes, of course it says Orville Redenbacher popcorn on it, but without opening the bag, as a scientist, I can't say for sure what the sample is. All we know is it's reportedly popcorn. That's what it says on the bag. We're going to use a piece of laboratory apparatus that's found in almost every lab around the world, basically. I was going to say across the country, around the world. Billions and billions of dollars have been spent on its development, and it's reached a high level of maturity. The microwave radiation chamber. We're going to expose this unknown sample to microwave radiation for about a minute or two here and hope that it will help us to characterize what this sample is. And given that the point of this experiment is to examine whether there's any legitimate dialogue between science and faith, we're going to take some notes to that end. I'm drawing a line down the middle of this page here and making two columns. One column has facts, the other column has faith. We are only going to record facts in the fact column. We're not going to put opinions there. We're not going to put value judgments there. Only facts. Rocket scientists deal with data, evidence, facts, and figures, and we do it relatively objectively. So, one moment. Okay, we're exposing the sample to microwave radiation, and we're going to record any facts, any data, any evidence that comes out of this experiment, anything that we can glean from this experiment as the unknown sample is being exposed to microwave radiation for the next several minutes. We see a light went on in the microwave radiation chamber. There's a sound emanating from the chamber. I'll record these are facts. Light, sound. I don't know if the camera can catch it or not, but the bag is starting to move a little bit. Besides the fact that it's rotating on a carousel, the bag is walking around in there a little bit. And I don't know if the camera can hear it or not, but I can hear popping sounds coming from that bag. So more of our evidence here is the bag is swelling. There's popping sound coming from the chamber. Separate from the sound that seemed to be coming from the chamber just upon powering it up. And although you can't see it on the camera, I can smell, I won't say a delightful buttery aroma because the facts column, we're not putting value judgments in there or opinions in there. We're only putting facts in there. It is not a fact that the buttery aroma is delightful. It is a fact that it's delightful to me. That's a value judgment. That's my opinion. But what we can call a fact here in the facts column is that there is a buttery aroma emanating from the chamber. Buttery aroma. Buttery aroma. So let's review the facts. Light came out of the chamber. Some kind of sound came out of the chamber as soon as we powered it up. The bag started swelling. There was a different sound, a popping sound that came from the chamber, and there was a buttery aroma that came from the chamber. Now, those are facts. Rocket scientists deal objectively with facts, figures, data, and evidence. We have not opened the bag yet. What's in the bag? We don't know. We haven't looked inside the bag. We don't know what's inside this bag. We know that the bag produced a popping sound when it was exposed to microwave radiation. We know that a buttery aroma emanated from the bag and or the chamber upon exposure to microwave radiation. We know the bag swelled, but we do not know what's in that bag. The notion that there's popcorn in that bag is obviously implicit here. That notion is not a fact. We have not looked in the bag. So we cannot say with confidence what's in this bag. We haven't proven what's in this bag. We obviously suspect, any reasonable person suspects that there's popcorn in this bag, but that concept that there is popcorn in this bag is not a fact in evidence. Therefore, what is the concept that there's popcorn in the bag? That is a matter of faith. Popcorn in the bag. Popcorn in the bag. We are of the faith that there is popcorn in this bag. We've not proven beyond the shadow of a doubt that there's popcorn in the bag. It is not a fact that there's popcorn in the bag. Neither is it a blind faith that there's popcorn in the bag. This faith that there's popcorn in the bag corroborates compares favorably with the fact that the bag swelled, there was a popping sound, a buttery aroma came out, but it is nonetheless a matter of faith. So with regard to the proposition that there's popcorn in that bag, with regard to the faith that there's popcorn in that bag, which is obviously related to objective analysis of these facts, we have three choices here. One choice is we believe that there's popcorn in the bag. Popcorn belief. And while popcorn belief is a matter of faith, it is not a fact, it's a belief. It is a faith that is well supported by the facts here. So popcorn belief is, you're standing on solid ground to believe that there's popcorn in this bag. Nobody would look at you funny. No legitimate rocket scientist would think that you were being unreasonable and or less than objective in your dealing with these facts if you ended up believing that there's popcorn in this bag, even though it is not a fact and we have not proven it. Another point of view that is scientifically defensible, is popcorn agnosticism. It is not a fact that there's popcorn in this bag. Popcorn agnosticism. I'll abbreviate if they're running out of room. Popcorn agnosticism is highly defensible. We have not opened the bag, therefore we don't know what's in the bag. You would be on solid scientific footing to say you are a popcorn agnostic even after examining these facts. It would be reasonable for you to be a popcorn believer. It would be reasonable for you to be popcorn agnostic after examining these facts. The third possible point of view is popcorn atheism. Popcorn atheism. Popcorn atheism examines these facts, looks at the popping, the swelling, the buttery aroma, and it says there's no way there could be popcorn in that bag. Two out of these three are scientifically defensible. You're on solid ground as a scientist if you believe there's popcorn in this bag, give an objective analysis of that evidence. You're on solid ground if you're a popcorn agnostic saying, I haven't opened the bag, therefore I'm unconvinced of what is in this bag, despite that evidence. Popcorn atheism, however, I'm sorry, that is cultic thinking. Cultic with a capital C. Cultic thinking can't withstand objective analysis of data, evidence, facts, and figures. Cultic thinking is the ideology that believes something that is totally contrary to the data, evidence, facts, and figures. While we don't have time to get into it with regard to the Christian faith, I'm here to tell you as a rocket scientist and a Christian, I have no problem with the faith-based nature of all science. Science looks objectively at facts, figures, data, and evidence, and then it draws conclusions, theories, laws, by the way, that have changed over the years. We were all about Newton, and then we were all about Einstein, and who knows what's next. We have faiths, we have beliefs, we have laws, we have theories, we have conclusions, we have hypotheses, and we compare them objectively with facts, figures, data, and evidence. That's what science does. I have no problem with the obvious and inherent relationship between faith and fact. I do have a problem with the cultic disregarding of facts, arriving at some blind faith that doesn't compare very favorably with the facts. So while we don't have time to get into it on this film, I can tell you as somebody who was a rocket scientist for 27 years and a Christian for the last 20 years, every scientist I've ever spoken to that has looked objectively at the evidence for God and the evidence against God has ended up being at least an agnostic, if not a downright theist. I've never met a scientist, not one scientist, that looked objectively at the evidence for and against the existence of God and concluded atheism. Atheism is scientifically untenable. Believism is scientifically defensible given the evidence for and against God, and agnosticism is certainly scientifically defensible given the evidence for and against God. Atheism is cultic. Thank you for your attention.